Our story begins not with a crime, but with a summons. A single letter that acts as a hook, pulling a man from his present and chaining him to a past he never knew. In the bustling, modern city of Kobai, a young man named Terada Tatsuya lives a quiet, unremarkable life. An orphan, his history is a blank page, his identity forged in the anonymity of a post-war metropolis. But in Japan, history has a long memory, and Tatsuya is about to be dragged from obscurity into the heart of a 400-year-old curse. The letter reveals a shocking truth. He is the long-lost son of the Tajimi family, the richest and most powerful clan in a remote hamlet called Yatsuhakamura, the village of 8 graves. He is, the letter claims, the sole heir to their considerable fortune. But this inheritance comes with a terrible price. The village is a place where grudges don't fade. They fester and poison the very soil. It is a microcosm of feudal Japan, trapped in the amber of its own dark history, where ancient honor and modern greed are about to collide. 4 centuries ago, 8 samurai seeking refuge were betrayed. The villagers, coveting the 3,000 ryo of gold they carried, feigned hospitality before slaughtering all 8 warriors in their sleep. The last samurai died, screaming a curse of vengeance that would haunt the village forever. This historical trauma is not just a ghost story. It is the village's psychological operating system. It provides a convenient, supernatural explanation for the all-too-human darkness that lies within the community, a mask for their own deep-seated paranoia and avarice. That curse appeared to find its champion 28 years ago. Tatsuya's father, a man named Tajimi Yozo, the proud head of the Tajimi clan, went on a murderous rampage. With a katana and 2 shotguns, he slaughtered 32 people in a single night of breathtaking violence before vanishing into the labyrinthine caves that honeycomb the earth beneath the village. The village saw this as the curse made flesh. We will come to see it as something far more complex, a calculated, horrifying, and meticulously planned act of revenge. Now Tatsuya, the son of a monster, is being called home. He is not returning to a welcome, but to a community that sees him as the living embodiment of its trauma. As he steps into the village, he feels the weight of hundreds of eyes, a mixture of fear, hatred, and a chilling, predatory hunger. For Tatsuya is not just an heir, he is a catalyst, and his arrival is the spark that will ignite the embers of a new, even more terrifying series of crimes. The murders begin almost immediately, and with a terrifying modernity that clashes with the ancient curse. Tatsuya's cousin is the first to die, then his other half-brother. The method is clean, clinical, and brutal. Cyanide poisoning. A wave of panic grips Yatsuhakamura. The villagers, steeped in their own dark history, leap to the most convenient conclusion. The curse of the 8 samurai has been reawakened by the return of the killer's son. Tatsuya is not just a suspect. He is a harbinger of doom, a walking ghost whose very presence is seen as a contamination. But a second, more theatrical threat soon emerges. A figure clad in decaying samurai armor, its face hidden behind a grim mask, begins to stalk Tatsuya through the village at night. It is a silent, ghostly warrior, seemingly intent on hunting him down. Is this the vengeful spirit of the past, made manifest? Or is it a calculated performance, designed to sow chaos and fear? A piece of theater played on a stage of paranoia? It is into this cauldron of superstition that a familiar, rumpled figure arrives, summoned by a worried villager. Kosuke Kindaichi listens patiently to the tales of ghosts and ancient curses. He hears the whispers about Tatsuya being the second coming of his father. But Kindaichi's sharp, analytical eyes see what the villagers, blinded by their fear and greed, cannot. He sees two distinct patterns of violence running in parallel. One is ancient, theatrical, and symbolic, the ghost samurai. The other is modern, efficient, and insidious, the poisoner. Kindaichi immediately understands that this is not two separate threats, but a single, complex deception. The performance of the ghost is a smokescreen, a brilliant piece of misdirection designed to obscure the cold, rational actions of the poisoner. The true killer is not a ghost from the 16th century, but a calculating monster hiding in the 20th. His true challenge is not to fight a curse, but to find the cold, hard logic hiding within the performance of madness. Hunted by both a phantom killer and his own greedy relatives, Tatsuya is forced to flee into the one place the villagers fear most: the vast, unmapped network of limestone caves beneath the village. This underworld becomes both his sanctuary and his greatest trial. The caves are a puzzle box on a geographical scale, a natural locked room where his father, Tajimi Yoso, vanished without a trace decades ago. For Tatsuya, this is a literal descent into his family's dark past, a journey into the earth that mirrors his journey into his own identity. But this labyrinth is not without its secrets, and it is here, in the oppressive darkness, that Tatsuya's transformation from victim to survivor truly begins. He makes a stunning discovery. On the cavern walls, nearly invisible in the gloom, are markings, arrows and symbols painted with a special phosphorescent fungus. His father had mapped this underworld. We must perform a forensic anatomy of this moment. Imagine the terror. Tatsuya, lost, his torch threatening to die. In a moment of desperation, he extinguishes the flame, plunging his world into absolute, terrifying blackness. But then, a faint, ghostly light appears on the walls. A spectral path, a ghost's cartography, revealing itself only in the absence of light. He wasn't just wandering, he was being guided by a 28-year-old echo. The puzzles grow more complex, revealing a mind that was anything but insane. He finds crude but ingenious mechanisms, dams and livers, hidden in forgotten alcoves that can divert the flow of underground rivers. A single pull could drain a flooded passageway in one area while sealing off another, allowing for impossibly quick escapes and secret entrances. This wasn't the work of a rambling madman. It was the precise, patient engineering of a man who had made the underworld his fortress. He didn't just live in the caves, he commanded them. Tatsuya is no longer just exploring a cave. He is learning the secret language of his father's ingenuity, a language born of 28 years of isolation and paranoia. In mastering the labyrinth, he masters himself. He learns to think not like a cornered animal, but like a predator in his own right, using the darkness and the terrain as weapons. And it is this mastery of the caves that provides the first clue to a shocking truth. A man can vanish from the world, but still cast a very long, very deliberate shadow. Kindaichi's investigation runs parallel to Tatsuya's harrowing journey. While Tatsuya learns the secrets of the caves, Kindaichi dissects the secrets of the human heart. He focuses on a simple question: who benefits most from Tatsuya's death? This leads him to a startling conclusion. The ghostly samurai that has been terrorizing the village is not one man, but two distinct entities with opposing motives. The first ghost is unmasked as a distant, greedy relative. Consumed by jealousy over Tatsuya's inheritance, he donned a suit of armor to frighten and ultimately murder the newfound heir. He is a simple killer, driven by a simple motive. He is a red herring, a product of the very greed that has always defined the village. But he is not the poisoner, nor is he the original, more elusive phantom. He is merely an opportunist, a jackal drawn to the scent of gold. The second ghost is the true shock. Kindaichi, through his deductions, and Tatsuya, through his experiences in the cave, come to the same unbelievable conclusion. Tatsuya's father, Tajimi Yozo, never died. He's been alive all this time, a hermit king reigning over his subterranean kingdom. And when his long-lost son returned to the village and was immediately targeted, Yozo emerged from the darkness. He became the second Phantom Samurai, not to harm his son, but to shadow and protect him, to act as a silent, terrifying guardian angel. The monster had become a protector. This revelation forces Kindaichi to re-examine the original massacre. Tajimi Yozo was not mad. The slaughter 28 years ago was a calculated act of terrible, focused revenge. We learn that his first child, born to his unfaithful wife, was afflicted with leprosy, the ultimate shame for a man obsessed with the purity of his bloodline. Shamed and ostracized by the entire village, Yozo watched his legacy turn to ash. So he planned his vengeance with the cold precision of a feudal lord, passing sentence on those who had dishonored him. His was a crime of profound, wounded pride, and this same ruthless focus is what he now uses to protect his other son, Tatsuya. With the mystery of the samurai solved, only one puzzle remains: the poisoner. Who is the modern-day killer who moves with such quiet efficiency? Kindaichi assembles the remaining family members. He points out the final, brilliant clue that everyone has missed. The poisonings seem random, but they are not. Every single person who died by cyanide was someone who had, in the days prior, either threatened or attempted to harm Tatsuya. The poisoner was not trying to kill indiscriminately. They were meticulously, desperately trying to protect him. The architect of this tragedy, he reveals, is Tatsuya's elder half-sister, Miyako. Her motive was not malice, but a desperate, misguided love. She knew her own husband was the ringleader of the plot to kill Tatsuya for the inheritance. To save the long-lost brother she had only just met, she decided she had to kill her husband first. But her plan became a comedy of fatal errors, a Greek tragedy played out with poison. Let us perform a forensic anatomy of her failures. The first attempt, she poisoned a cup of sake intended for her husband during a family gathering. But in the chaos of the event, a visiting cousin, thirsty and impatient, picked up the wrong cup and drank it down before anyone could react. A life extinguished by a simple, tragic mistake. The second attempt, determined to succeed, she was more direct. She carefully applied cyanide to a single cigarette from her husband's personal case. But a short time later, her husband, in a seemingly innocuous social gesture, offered that very cigarette to another relative, who dropped dead moments later. Another innocent victim fell, and her true target remained unscathed. Each attempt to save Tatsuya by eliminating a specific threat resulted in the accidental death of someone else. She was not a serial killer. She was a protector whose every action was cursed by a terrible irony. She was trapped in a cycle of creating more death in her attempt to prevent one, her love proving just as destructive as her father's hate. The final confrontation takes place deep within the caves. The greedy relatives, having learned of the samurai's lost gold from one of their own, corner Tatsuya in the treasure chamber. But Tajimi Yozo had planned for this. The chamber itself is a trap. As they lunge for the gold, Tatsuya escapes, and the cavern collapses, burying the villains in the very treasure they coveted. A final, poetic justice delivered by the ghost they never truly believed in. In the end, Tatsuya emerges from the darkness, the sole survivor of his cursed bloodline. He is now the undisputed owner of the Tajimi fortune and the legendary samurai gold. He has every right to claim his place as the new lord of the village. He has faced the monster of his lineage and won, but he refuses it all. In a final, powerful act of self-definition, he renounces the entire inheritance. He understands that the gold and the estate are the true sources of the curse. They are symbols not of wealth, but of the greed and betrayal that have poisoned this land for centuries. To accept them would be to accept the identity of Tajimi Tatsuya, son of a murderer, lord of a haunted village. He would be forever trapped by his father's legacy. Instead, he chooses to walk away, to return to his simple life in Kobe as Terada Tatsuya, an orphan who forges his own destiny. He breaks the curse not by fighting it, but by refusing to participate in its twisted game. He is no longer just the son of a monster. He is a man who has faced the ghosts of the past and walked through the labyrinth of his own identity to emerge, finally, as himself. And as Kindaichi watches him leave Yatsuhakamura for good, he knows that the greatest mystery of all is not how a man can be driven to kill, but how another can find the will and the courage to survive.